Hello, everyone. Welcome to the April wrap-up. How is everybody doing? This is the last day of Camp NaNoWriMo. Finally, I think it's a feeling for a lot of people like it's finally over. It's finally over. It's because I know a lot of people have struggled this month.
Yeah.
It was a weird time to start because it was Easter. And then I swear something happened in the second week that just like dragged everything down. And then it's just life has been constant, and everyone's been like, that I've spoken to recently anyway. So yeah, how is everybody doing?
We're gonna go around and start with me, and then we'll go to Charlie, and then we'll go to Chandra, and then back up to Sarah. All right, so we can do it nice clockwise.
And introduce yourselves at the same time as well.
Yes. So hi everybody, I am Nia, the Vixen of Fiction, here on YouTube and on Twitch. I write fantasy, sci-fi, and historical fiction. Sometimes I combine them all, and I'm also working on a comic, and I do artsy fun stuff. I also like to bake. So follow me, follow everybody here. We're all good people. We're okay. And this month for my Camp Nano, I undershot myself. I knew it. I kind of knew it, but I wanted to make sure I had time to get some artwork in. So my goal was only 25,000, and it should have probably been 35,000 because I'm almost at 30 now. So I finished that early, but because I finished early, I kind of felt a little like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And I picked up like 3 or 4 other projects that I've been cramming this last week. I don't know why I did that to myself, but I didn't add it to my camp. It's just my mental, I want to get it done by January 1st or by June 1st kind of thing. So June 1st is tomorrow, and I'm like, oh, I still have all of this to do. So even though I finished camp, the last week I added things on for myself, finish by tomorrow, and I'm not quite there. Close, but not there. How about you, Charlie? And introduce yourself also.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlotte, and I am on Instagram and YouTube. And on YouTube, I post writing updates and fun, random journaling artsy videos because why not? And can you guys hear that in the background?
I didn't hear it. Did something happen?
No?
Okay.
Okay, we're perfectly fine then.
Technology.
And this camp I totally abandoned because I felt like it was a little weird to start camp in the last week of what month is it? April?
April.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm with that.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Charlie.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was done.
Oh, okay. All right. Chandra, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name's Chandra Arthur. I am an author tuber, and I'm on Instagram at @CChanWrite. Also on Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter. I mostly stick to Instagram and AuthorTube. So this camp, I worked on a fantasy project that has been in the works for about 10 years. So my goal was 50K, which was half the book. So I think next camp I'll probably do the other half of the book. That's what I'm thinking. But I also had planned to do a rewrite of a previous project. Well, it was going to be just an edit, and it turned into a complete rewrite. So I did that the month before and then went straight into camp. And let me just tell you, I could not wait for camp to be over. I've been writing every single day for about 50 days, and I'm exhausted. I am exhausted.
But I did dedication though.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I took so much time off of writing, and these projects have been languishing, and I've been pushing this one project back for so long. I really wanted to start working on it, and I'm really happy with the progress that I've made. I definitely need a whole nother month to have draft one complete, but I need a break. And I did finish my last 500 words this morning to get over my goal. So, yeah, we are.
That's great. I keep hitting my desk and shaking everything. And hello, I am Sarah. I write middle grade and YA fantasy. You're here, so this is where you can find me, over on YouTube. And Sarah Cahill writes over on Instagram. All these lovely ladies are all linked down below, so definitely go give them a check out. I overestimated how easy Camp NaNoWriMo is going to be for me this month, based purely on how easy it was in November last year for me to do words. Yeah, we have some stuff to talk about with that, but we'll come back to that. This is a really awkward setup, so I'm going to turn this way so I can see who's here in the chat. Melissa is here. Rainy, Minty, Lainey writes hello. How are you? Twin Tails is here. Yep, Camp NaNoWriMo is any sort of camp or NaNoWriMo event always gets all of the community together, which is fantastic. But we are also always there in between as well. So if you look for us, we will be there.
Yes.
Lainey, hoping to get 5,646 words in less than 2 hours. Is camp 2 hours away from being over for you? Right, Will.
Lainey might be a fast typer.
Yes.
I am not.
Also dictation, though.
Oh, yes, dictation. Yeah. Yes. If you can dictate, you can do it.
If you can dictate, you are magic. I don't know how people can do it. Rainy, stay behind on camp, don't care, have a great month. You know what? That's actually a really great attitude to have.
Yep.
That is a fantastic attitude to have. Like, it does suck a little bit when you give yourself a goal, but if you find yourself caring too much about that goal, it's not healthy for you in the long run. So yeah, don't care. That's fantastic attitude.
Yeah. If you found other good and fun things that happened along the way, that's even better.
Yes. Oh, right, I've got to look this way. It's been a great month. First time participating in NaNoWriMo, even if it's just camp, and I loved it. That's good. That's great.
Good.
Sin, Ashley, Lee, hello, Angelina. Hi. How has camp gone for everybody? I know the beginning was a struggle. There we go. I have this. I know the beginning was a struggle for a few people. I know that. I keep shaking everything. Everything, it all comes and goes. So, obviously taken into consideration, there is still camp left for quite a few people. How has camp gone for you, particularly this month? Have you reached your goal? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Did you have a fun time doing it? Let us know down in the comments. Minty, yeah. Minty did fantastic this month, I have to say. Sin hasn't written in over 2 weeks, so a little about the words. 18k for the month, but I'm victorious about that fact. Yes, that is good. 18k for the month, even if you haven't written in 2 weeks, because I know you took a break. That is an absolutely fantastic result.
Yeah.
Sin had a good first week. Everyone else did not. Nia, how was your month this month?
Pretty good. I wish I would have put my goal at 30,000 instead of 25, because once I knew I was going to hit it. Well, when we did the write-a-thon day with Kate, I was like, oh, I'm really going to hit. Like, I knew then I was going to hit it early. I was worried because of Easter being at the beginning, and I did. I had a slow start. And then once we did that, the write-a-thon day, it like spiked up, and then I just stayed over like the line. I'm trying to look. I'm backwards, but the lines here. Once we were ahead, I was above the whole time. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to definitely hit it as long as I'm writing something every day. I wouldn't get behind. So yeah, so I was like, I could have upped it, but then I really wanted to work on some art stuff, and I wanted to get some journal designs done. My daughter wants a journal. My son wants one. Now my daughter's friend wants one so I wanted to. I was like, it gave me time to get all of these other things in, and I'm a sucker for anything artsy. So I was like, oh yeah, if I'd have been doing camp, I would have had to tell them, no, everybody wait, just wait. But because I finished early, I was able to do these other things. But now I know a little bit. I have a little bit better idea of what I can do, so I can push myself a little bit harder. But then I also see everybody else who knows. The ones who've done it before, who knows their goals and didn't quite hit it. And I'm like, which is better though? I don't know if it's better to overshoot or undershoot. So,
but I mean, as long as you know your goal, I mean, things can happen even if you do know your goal and you've done it before, things that are just beyond your control. And it's just like, well,
what are you going to do?
I always find it better to undershoot a little bit. So, like, how much roughly you can write per month. So you put it at the lowest that you can do. That way, if stuff does happen, you can still be a little bit confident that you can hit that goal. But if you do better than that goal, it's like you've done better.
Yeah.
So there's a little less time, I guess, for disappointment.
And you got to do
if you set the goal lower.
What was that, Charlie?
You got to do all this other stuff because if you like undershot or whatever, you got to do things that you wouldn't be able to do if you overshot your goal.
Yeah, I figured that out at the regular Nano when it's 50,000 no matter what. I was like, oh, I really want to draw. I really wanted to do, and I just was like, if I stop, I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing drawings, and I'm not going to finish writing. So it put more pressure on me to not draw, and I don't know if I like that. So I know I can do 50,000 because I got it, but I cut out a lot of stuff that I wanted to do to make sure that I was focused on it. So I didn't want to have that happen during camp. So I have a whole month though to think about what I want my goal to be for the next one. So I'll figure it out, hopefully.
Yes. Charlie, what about you? How has camp gone so far?
I've been very productive with everything but camp. My goal was to write a children's book, a picture book.
Yeah.
But that would include starting a new project. And I was in the middle of querying another one. And then halfway through the month, I got really into my third rewrite of this other project that made me so frustrated. And I was like, if this is how I feel, if I'm excited to write it, I may as well just write it before I get frustrated again. And so that is what I've been working on the rest of the month. So maybe if I made my camp goal finish projects you already have, then I would be more successful.
Did you see? I tend to tell people, don't, especially for camp, don't give yourself a project, or give yourself a project, but any writing that you do for that month, just count it towards your Camp NaNoWriMo goal. Just count anything you do. Don't delegated to a specific project.
So
Any words that you've written, like, stick it towards your note. They're not going to know. They're not going to know that you're writing, that you're adding words for other projects. Like, you get those rewards if you like, oh, I'm going to do a picture book and write this many words, and you do rewrites or working on another novel, like, add those words as well.
when my picture book turns out to be over 20k words, though.
You've written 20 1,000 word picture books. It's fine. They don't know.
There you go.
Exactly.
What about you, Chandra?
Mute. Oh, are you not muted, or did your cat mute you? I'm lip reading things that she said. I have no idea. I don't know what happened.
Aw, cat.
Ah.
Oh, no.
Oh. The cat's done some tech magic.
Yeah, he's like,
Oh no.
I don't know, Chandra.
I don't know what buttons the cat would have pressed.
Maybe unplug your headphones and replug them in, maybe?
And then maybe also check to see if your site if this StreamYard got muted up at the top. I think she's gonna try and message us. Oh goodness.
Definitely on Chandra's end that it's been muted because I can't unmute her myself. Oh no!
The cats are taking over. Minty says her cat's taking over now. Just going back to getting a sync of me.
This is
Yes.
April. This has been April.
Yes.
This is what it is.
This is April.
Beautiful
no.
visual representation of how April has gone.
Can you reload StreamYard?
Oh, leave and then come back in, and Sarah will put you back in. StreamYard is a troll sometimes, you guys.
Yeah. StreamYard is terrible sometimes.
She can't leave.
Oh no, okay. Okay, so I will remove you from the bottom and then use the link to pop back in, and then we'll see hopefully if that will help unstick the issue. Right, okay.
I don't know how I'm.
Yeah.
I'm just like, she is saying.
Oh no. Right, okay.
Yes, this has been April in a nutshell. The weirdest thing that happened is Wednesday night when I was live streaming. Usually when I'm live streaming, my kids know not to bother me for a couple hours. And my kids are not babies. They're all teenagers and up. But I've got one college kid at home, and one college kid is all over the place because she's just living her best life. And then I've got the younger two. And they know not to bother me unless someone's dying. So like my text messages are going off and I'm trying to ignore them. And then I get a phone call and I'm like, oh, it's nothing. They'll come get me if it's serious. And then the dog has been barking. I had to like try to quiet the dog earlier during one of the sprints. I'm like, what is going on? And then after I didn't answer the phone call, I hear the kid coming up the steps. And I'm like, oh, wait. Maybe somebody is hurt. Do I need to check my text messages? And so I have to mute because it was after the sprint. I mute and she's like, Mom, there's a snake in the garage and the boys are trying to just grab it. I'm like, do they know if it's poisonous? No, they can't see the tail, so we don't know if it's poisonous or not. And I'm like, let me go save the children.
Oh no.
So I had to cut my live stream short. So yeah. That's
Yeah,
about right.
I think April has somehow been a very chaotic month.
Yeah.
It's just right. Okay, have we fixed the issue?
I think so.
Yes,
Yay.
Welcome back.
We know.
we have
Welcome back,
volume.
Chandra.
Yay!
Yay. I don't know what happened. Probably the cat like bumped something with his paw, but the whole screen just locked up nobody.
He's like,
Let's do that again. That was fun.
You are banished. Where was I? How's camp going? I thought it was going well. then I said something about it. Now I'm just like knocking on wood.
Right.
I got a lot done, and I was very happy about that. It actually ended up being a good month for me to work on Nano because my friends were very busy this month, so they didn't notice that I just fell off the face of the earth. And that was nice. I also have not had furniture because I moved out of a studio into a house. So I got furniture and I've been able to like move around and write in different spaces, which is really helpful. I also started joining a stream first thing in the morning and getting, well, first of all, I got a light box because seasonal depression is real. And so I used to be a morning person. I was having a really hard time getting up in the morning. So I started using my light box and I've been able to wake up early again, which is so helpful. And so I started writing for 2 hours first thing every morning during weekdays.
Nice.
what is a light box?
It's like a little cube, and all it is a bright like blue light, I think is what it is.
Okay.
And it's supposed to help balance your circadian rhythm because you don't get as much light during the
That's cool.
yeah. So it makes a huge difference for me. And I'll just wake up in the morning and even still just be laying there with it on. And it has like an automatic timer. And then, turn on my coffee pot and go write for 2 hours and just lay there and drink. I still feel like I'm relaxing because I don't actually have to physically get up or be uncomfortable to do things.
Right.
Yeah.
And that made a big difference for my general enjoyment of camp because I felt more like myself. I felt like getting up in the morning and I was like, ooh, I get to work on my project. It's been 10 years in the making. So that part was good. As far as the struggle bus goes, struggle for me, and this is, so I did a full Nano in November. That was my first one, and this is my first full camp. So far, for both of those, I've hit struggle bus week 3, where I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to do words. I want to potato. And kind of over everything. And I felt like all the streams, at that point, the streams became my saving grace because everyone's just friendly and everyone else is being productive. And I want to also be productive. So I'm just like, yay, I got 50 words.
Yep.
And there was definitely a week where it was every single sprint, like 20, 30-minute sprints, and I would get 100 words every time. And I would just want to cry because I'm used to being at least 500 words for a 20-minute sprint. And it didn't matter how much I pushed myself. It was just like, so, I mean, I think it's kind of, probably everyone just hits that same feeling at a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the important thing to remember is that even if you're not getting your standard 500 words, you still wrote 100 words.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have just done absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
you were still productive and you still were creative and you still wrote words, and that is an accomplishment in itself, especially when it is a struggle and especially when you don't want to sit down at your computer or at your desk and you don't want to do the thing. The fact that you did any amount of words, like that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
So focus on what you
Absolutely.
did. Don't focus on what you didn't do. Focus on what you did, and that's the good thing.
I think for week 3, and it may jump around, and of course, as soon as I've declared it, it's liable to change. But that seems like just the time period for me where like things are going to slow down. I'm going to have to be okay with that. And whatever happens, happens. But it's just, chipping away at it gradually, because whatever it is about that time in the writing, I don't know if it's the way I'm writing or what I'm writing that's frustrating for me, but the words just don't come around that time period. So it may be time for me to examine that a little bit more closely.
Yeah. And now now that you've gone through it twice, because you went through it in November and then this one, it's something that you're aware of, and, just knowledge is power,
Yes.
Yeah.
That way it's not, it doesn't have to be so frustrating when you get to that point. You're like, okay, we knew this was going to happen. Now what are we going to do about it? Kind of thing. Or do we want to do anything about it? Or just do we want to chill out and do nothing, And and you can figure out what's going to work best for you, now that okay, this thing is possibly going to happen. So that's one of the things that I liked about just jumping right in with the full Nano at first. So I could see what it's really like to have to write 50,000 words. Because I think most of the time I can probably write 40, 50,000 words a month without thinking about it. Because I think most people, if you're writing pretty regularly and you go back over, it's like you get thousands of words every month. But then when Camp Nano comes in, or NaNoWriMo comes in, it's like that focus on, now this is a must. Sometimes our brains just go, what? Wait, we have to do this. And pressure can sometimes be a good thing, but it can also add a little extra stress, and it depends on how you handle it. And we all handle these things differently because we're all different and individuals. Some people I know just thrive under like pressure. Like the more you give them, the more they're just like, they dig in, even if it drives them crazy. They love that kind of rush of I've got this high goal and I must do it. And some people are like, no. I'm somewhere in between. Like I like to hit the goal. I do like to hit the goal. But I've also have made it where I've decided I'm going to be happy with what I do and not dwell on what I didn't do, because I can always, I haven't forgotten about it. I can always, do it later. So just trying to be less stressed, whatever works, Yeah.
It also depends on what is stressing you out, as well as to what the fix is for it. But it's something that it's something you just learn to either live with and accept, or you sort of naturally find your own way of pushing through, or getting over whatever it is that is pushing against you, or like stopping the creativity. So week 3 is a tough week. So are you writing a particular scene in that week? Is it the pressure of, okay, it's been 3 weeks of me with a word count goal that is sort of like putting a bit more pressure on me to do the stuff? So once you figure out what it is, you can figure out the best way to overcome it or try and push past it.
I think it's less about the word count, because like you said, it's typical to write, a lot of words in a month. I think it's less about that and maybe a little bit more about the content, and not necessarily being as excited to write that part of the book, but needing to get through it in order to tell the story.
I get that.
I'm like, if I didn't enjoy writing it, will the reader enjoy reading it?
Yeah.
And then how can I approach that part of the story differently to make it enjoyable to write and enjoyable to read? I think that's important, but I also think no words are bad words. So if I can get that part onto the page, I can come back and edit it to something that is enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I would like to approach it in a way that I eventually get to the point where week 3, whatever it is that I'm writing there, is not a total drag to write.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, Nano is supposed to be fun. So
Yes.
I guess put that over, even though we love words and we love meeting our goals, put the fun over top of the stress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When people tell me that they've had to stop or quit Nano, but they're fine now, I'm like, okay, bravo. Now what are you doing next? And let's keep it rolling. Because like you said, if you're not having fun and enjoying what you're doing, it can be a real drag on you. And then I've seen people quit and then still participate just by joining live streams and be like, hey, I'm just here to support everybody else. And they were enjoying doing that part of it. So, you got to find, that thing that's going to keep you motivated and keep you going, whatever that is. If the camp project's not where your mind and soul and heart are telling you to write in, and you're like, I can't do that, but this thing over here is really calling to me, do it. And I think there's more flexibility with camp anyway, and camp is more figuring things out. So I try to tell people, don't put too much pressure on yourself during camp. I know it's my first one.
Yeah, camp is like the training wheels of NaNoWriMo. It doesn't feel as serious, and because you get to pick your own word count goal, it's a lot more. Use Camp NaNoWriMo to figure out how to do NaNoWriMo. Figure out the best times for you to write, whether you need to journal beforehand, whether you can easily force yourself to write the 1,667 words per day, or how much can I write in a day, and then adjust your life and your schedule around what you can or can't do. So yeah, use Camp NaNoWriMo to play and to test yourself as a writer, and use it to prepare for, you have to write 50,000 words in a month. It's NaNoWriMo time. So it's the best time to do it, because you've also got that sort of slight pressure of a deadline, which NaNoWriMo has, but all the rest of the freedom to just play around and do whatever you want.
Now, Sarah, you did a video, I think, where you were doing Nano and Milwordy at the same time. Did that happen?
Right, yeah, I'm doing Milwordy, aren't I? Look, I've gotten to the point now where I keep forgetting I'm doing Milwordy, and it's now at the point where I don't know what my Milwordy word count currently is. I don't know what it should be. I'm still participating, but I'm not I need to make sure that I write 2,300 whatever it is words per day in order to meet the 80,000 words per month, I think it is. I'm just writing, so I'm probably not gonna hit the 1 million, but I'm like, I just can't be bothered with trying to write the 2,800 words anymore. I don't have that many words in me right now. It was easy at the beginning when I had multiple projects to work on. I don't have multiple projects to work on right now, so it's like I don't have any other ways to get the words, so I'm just not. I'm not. I don't know what I'm at. I don't want to know what I'm at, because I don't want to freak myself out and go, oh, now I have to write 400,000 words in 3 months, and then because I would give myself a stupid word count goal in order to achieve it. So I don't know.
That's fair. I will say, even the endeavor though, I saw that and I was like, I watched your channel, and that's how I found out about Milwordy, and I was like, what? And of course, because I'm a glutton for punishment, I want to try it.
You're like me, Chandra, but I'm passively doing a half Milwordy. I found out about this in November. Like I said, I just joined the Author2 realm in October, and jumped right in with Preptober and then NaNoWriMo. And that's when I heard everybody's doing this Milwordy thing. And I said, I don't know if that's a lot or a little bit, because I had no idea. So I said, I will tentatively do a half Milwordy. I'm not adding up the words yet. I think maybe at the end of June, I'll check and see where I'm at. But a half mil word is only like either 500,000 words, or you're only doing it for 6 months versus the year. So for me, it's a half a million words. I don't know if I'm close. I don't know if I'm there. But for me, it's more like at the end of the year, I'll see what I got, basically.
Now, when you do this,
maybe I'll get a 500,000. Maybe I'll get closer to 1 million. I have no idea.
Do you count like any words that you write in the whole year?
They said count everything, right?
Text
I don't
messages.
count. I don't count all that. I'm not going to look back on that. But every project that I'm doing, I'm going to eventually go back and add up I know all the work that I've been working on since November. So I'll just go through all of my documents and calculate them all and see how close I got, and see if then I'll know if a mil word is impossible. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Y'all are more confident than I am with Milwaukee. When I joined AuthorTube, I figured out what the challenge was from Kate, but the whole tracking your words was not appealing to me. So I feel like I've written, if I were to say that I was doing Milwaukee, I feel like I've written a good maybe half-ish, just because I've finished and edited and rewrote 2 projects. Like I'm constantly working on that, but I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know for sure. And then when we're talking about emails, and I know some people were counting essays and stuff because student life, that just confuses me. I don't know where I would track it. I'm so bad at tracking NaNoWriMo. I use the website maybe twice a month to track because I just forget.
Yeah. I have a hard time remembering to track. So I get that. That's why I'm like, I'll try a half, but it's literally, I'm not looking through my text messages and emails. It's going to be only on like writer type work. So it could be any project. I have a ton of projects, and I'll dot in and out of a lot of my side projects. But those are the only things I'm going to count. I'm not going to go back through and look at emails and text messages and Instagram posts. And I'm like, I can't. No, I'm not going to do it. So half mil wordy. Here we go. Let's see. And I'll see at the end of the year what happened.
I've been doing outlines, rewritten words, revising words, first draft words, note taking if I'm taking any random. If I do YouTube scripts, I'll count that as well, because that's technically writing related. And when I journaled, everything written in my journal. So all of those words is what not that I've been counting anything I've been doing apart from my daily word count goal for the past 2 months. But that's what I would be counting for Little Wordy if I was still serious about actually tracking every single word that I need to write. Whoops. How did everybody else do, Cam?
Yeah.
Actually, month started off rough, but I hit my goals and finally got some stuff done in the back half. Also, Ashley can fix a washing machine now.
Nice. See,
that's great.
That's awesome.
Lainey's had a few weekend trips. Oh, you've had good weather. Nice. See, you're lucky. I have not had good weather at all. If Minty can write 3K each day and reach their goal, then anybody can.
Yes.
Minty,
everybody
that's awesome.
Minty did a fantastic job.
Yes.
Lee, not sure. I've been revising and adding to my story, which makes tracking the word count beyond the scope of my attention span, but happy with the progress. Don't track word count. Track hours that you spend working on your project, and then track each 1 hour as 1,000 words or something like that, so you can add it to the site.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
That's smart.
Because the site is stupid and you can only track words now.
They had a conversion chart, I think, where they were like, "Hey, if you're doing these different activities, like here's how we convert it into word count."
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I saw that somewhere. I will have to find it because I saw it somewhere.
Yeah, because I can do my artwork for the next Nano.
Yeah. Sin, gave myself 3 projects for camp, all at different stages, because I know I will rebel again against myself. I did start revision finally.
Yay.
So, yeah, it's camp is for whatever you want to do. Like,
it's the best time to be a Camp Nano rebel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Angelina, it was not bad. Not on my goal, but now I know for the next time.
Which is only 2 months away.
Right?
Oh God, yeah, it is. Yeah. Damn it! Don't remind me, Charlie.
So they said,
binary.
Look, I gave myself a goal and I regret it already. But like, let's not make it worse.
is that blue?
Maybe.
There
Oh,
it is.
can we
Track
make it?
number of words on the pages you want to edit. Use the word count goal to track your minutes. 60 minutes times 30 is 1,800. Yeah, so
Nice.
convert time into words, basically. So 1 hour equals, I suppose, whatever word count you want to give 1 hour.
They also have a page goal. So the average words per page of a script is 250 words. So you would take your page count goal and multiply it by 250.
That's interesting.
That's good.
Yeah.
See,
That'd come in
you'd
handy
think
for
that
handwriting.
yeah, but you'd think it'd be easier to just have the option to track pages instead of forcing people to calculate every single day they want to update their stuff on the NaNoWriMo website.
See, I'm not a consistent writer. I am definitely that type of person who will write a ton of words and run herself into burnout. So I think this April, I don't think I wrote at all near the end of May. If I remember correctly, I was totally burned out. And so I wrote maybe 100 words for the last 3 weeks of May. And I wrote barely anything during the beginning of April. And then I kind of, I don't know, I ran with my writing goals and for the end of April.
That's good. Lainey, going to put 1 day in 6 chapters because I want to finish camp.
Yes.
You can do it.
Yes, you can do it.
Tracking my word is confusing. Yep.
Very.
It's in a spreadsheet so they can't forget. Probably never going to do my wordy simply because I'm so lazy and love procrastinating. Yeah, it sounds fun, but it's not until you actually start doing it that it's like you're like, oh, it's 1,000,000 words. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
for some reason it sounds easier than it actually is. I don't know why.
I used to check the Mill Wordy Discord, and I was like, nobody. Or I think there's either a page or a Discord or something for it. I'm kind of new to Discord too. But nobody was ever posting. I was like, does that mean it's not going or people have stopped tracking?
I think by this point, most people are just like, I'm just going to step away. No one will know that I've stepped away.
The new person knows. Because I'm like, hey, what's going on with this?
I think you need to either be in either a job or something where you naturally write a lot of words all the time. Because there's only so much you can do as a writer, depending on what projects you have and where you are in those projects and what any extra work you need to do. Lainey just finished a chapter. Well done.
Yay.
Fantastic. We'll go to an actual sprint now that this first hour is almost up. So we can all try and get some words
always
in.
try to get at least one. We're going to try and do 2 for everybody who's still going to get some words for camp. We're going to try our best.
Some last minute words. I wanted to get 2,000-ish or so words today to reach 75,000, but I don't know if I'm going to or bothered to. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. Right. If everybody is ready, we'll go into our first of 2, hopefully, sprints of this stream. 16 minutes, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1, and begin. Okay, that is the end of the sprint. No, I don't want to go into the 24-minute sprint. Thank you very much. Pause. What do I need now? Is that one? Is that one? There we go. I got stuff. How did everybody do? Did we get some words or some productivity in? I don't know how many words I did. I didn't pay attention. I got some.
Some is good.
Some. More than one. There we go. That's how I did. How did everybody else do?
I worked on one of my journals, so I lost the PDF. It's on here somewhere, but I saved it in the wrong place. So now I'm like, oh, where is it? And there's a lot to look through. So I'm like, I should probably I want to just create another one and actually save it to the right place. It's just sometimes easier than looking for it because I'm like, I really can't find it. And it doesn't have a name. It's got like a long number, and you know me and long numbers, like the random generated number. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna find that. I should have just saved it in the right place. But yeah, I got stuff done. Now, if I could find it, I'll just re-download it. It's fine.
Can you find it by the date that it was saved?
I would think so, but no, it's like not there. I don't know where it went. Like it's not where it should be, so I don't know where to look for it. And I'd have to like type in. Oh, I could look in every single folder. I'll look for it later. I'm like,
Hopefully you find it.
yeah, it's fine if I don't. It's just a conversion to PDF, so I just got to do it again and actually track where I put it to the right place.
Got it.
Yeah, I just wasn't paying attention, so I just don't know where it got sent to. Which is a little annoying, but it's not a problem to do it again. I'll just do it when I'm done.
What about you, Charlie?
So I got real coffee and my little fake coffee. And then I've been waiting all day to say that to someone.
That's what we're here for.
I wrote like I have no idea how much I wrote, maybe 20 words. And then I gave up, and then I decided to crochet a dinosaur because I made Totoro yesterday.
Yay, so
and I made an eggplant the day before for no reason.
That's so cute.
Yeah. One day I'm gonna get good at this, and then I'm going to ship them out to my friends with no context. I'll be like, here.
I love that. That is awesome.
Yes.
What do you mean get good? Tutorial looks amazing.
I
It
know,
does.
they look great.
Really? No, the eyes, I messed up the eyes. I was supposed to have like real eyes, but I don't have the supplies. So I hand stitched the eyes onto the stuffed animal. And
That's even better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Totoro. It works.
I think it's adorable.
Thanks.
Yes,
If
it
you
gives
want
a
to
character.
If you want to do the eyes differently, you can always take like a large white button and a small black button and just stack them. And
Oh, true.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about using buttons. That would be so much less frustration in my life.
yeah, and it's durable. It's cute.
Thank you.
I like them. So if there's any way, like a sign-up sheet to get on that friends list,
Right?
I'll be repping those for you.
Yeah, I can definitely move something over and put it on my shelf. I've got room.
I will get a shelf just to put it.
Just see?
Thanks.
Those are adorable.
Yep, merch by Charlie. Get your cute things.
I did not try to write at all. I got out my planner and I looked at the things that I had on there that I wanted to do this month, and I realized that I've been very ambitious. So I've been planning to like throw a party since I moved, and I was in a studio. I didn't have enough space to have a party. But most of my friends are like vaccinated now, and I'm like, I'm in a house.
Right.
I should throw a party.
Yes.
So I came up with a name for my party. And the theme is going to be come hang with me. And I'm just going to make my friends come over and drink and hang my art for me. Because I'm terrible
that.
I love it.
at
That's
hanging
cute.
stuff.
I like that.
Come hang with me.
Yeah. So it's like everything's there, the invite, but it's real subtle. So I'll be like, did you bring a hammer and some nails? Because you're going to need it. And then,
Well, they can't say you didn't tell them.
right?
That's right.
That's what I was thinking. And then I'm also, the only house rule is going to be that you can't drink out of an actual glass. You can drink out of anything you want, but it cannot be a glass.
Or the
So
toilet bowl.
Interesting.
that's my party theme. And then I started learning how to draw hands.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
I will show my sketchbook.
Yes, let me see the hands.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's so good.
So I did faces, like the basics of how to draw face shape and everything before. And there's a scene in one of my books that I need to draw, and I've tried to draw it several times, and it's gone very, very poorly. And I was like, this would be better if I could draw hands.
Ooh.
So we shall see.
That's a really good reason to learn how to draw something. I like this.
Like, it's so bad that I couldn't even go to an artist and be like, here's my concept. That's how bad I am.
No.
See, this is why when I used to do art, I did everything I could to not draw hands. I would pose, there'd be no hands, they'd be in their pockets, they'd be behind
Yes.
their back, they'd be
I do a
out of
lot of the
frame,
arm folds,
like
You'll notice
anything
a
to
lot of my
not draw the
characters
hands.
do like this or have one hand showing. I hate doing the hands because it's doing one hand is fine. It's both of them because I'm like, why do their hands not look the same?
Yeah.
I
And
had
that's
that
the
trouble
most
with
frustrating.
eyes.
Oh, I love eyes. Oh my goodness. I need to do a tutorial for eyes. I
Do
love
it.
drawing.
Do it.
Like
No,
actual
do it.
I did a picture one. It's on my Instagram, but I didn't video it, which I should have. And then I tried to video one at like 1 o'clock in the morning because I do stay up late, and the eye came out looking so weird. I was like, oh, it was too late at night to try to do
Just-
that. The eyelids.
Just
Looking
change the name and be
scary.
like, how to draw a demon eye.
Yeah. How not to draw an
yeah.
eye.
Oh, that's good. That's good. We love it.
But I always
Yeah.
had one eye was fine, and then you tried to draw the other eye, and it
Yeah.
just didn't work.
I know.
The second eye would not work.
So my friend has a painting of a really beautiful painting of a horse up in her, like on her wall, right? And I asked about the horse, the artist, and I don't remember the artist's name, but she told me that every picture that the artist draws is of a horse, and the horse never shows its legs because the artist does not know how to draw a horse's feet, and the artist cannot be bothered to learn. So in every shot, it's beautiful. The entire thing is beautiful, but if you look, like, if you study all of them, the feet are always covered by grass or by other horses or something like that.
Wow.
That is
Very
awesome.
clever.
That is clever.
We
yeah.
all have our weaknesses. We're just like,
Yeah.
oh.
And our ways
Very
of getting
clever.
around them. Angelina got
Yeah.
132 words. Sin revised the
Yay.
chapter. Minty wrote some of the radio. Oh, this is for your new
Cool.
project, isn't it, Minty? Or is it your
Oh,
current one?
nice.
Lady got 493, but I'm not going to stop since I'm pumped right now. We are now a podcast
I'll
for
keep
you.
going. Yes.
Yeah, keep
Yes.
going.
Continue
You
the
just
writing,
listen and keep
continue the
working.
work. We are cheering you on.
And you are motivating me by your word counts.
Yes.
Hands are a pain. At one point, I forced myself
They
to practice,
are.
but they are difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's like doesn't look like it'd be difficult. Somehow,
I find the same thing with noses. Noses don't look difficult at all. And then you realize that half the nose is just shading. And that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to do a nose tutorial. I somehow managed to get them when I'm doing the semi-realistic. I somehow managed to get them looking decent, but they're not as easy as eyes, and I find they're not as hard as hands. Hands, I don't like doing them.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of times I draw a character standing still. I'm like, what are they doing with their hands? Literally, I think they're just standing there. What are their hands? Hands are frustrating.
Hands are in their pockets. There we go.
Can I just say, I feel the same way when I'm writing dialogue. Like, I forget that my characters move. So I have the back and forth, and I have words that describe how they're feeling and their tone. And then I'm like, wait, are they just standing? Are they sitting? What are they doing?
I'm feeling kind of called out right now.
Action tags. Action tags and dialogue tags are the bane of my existence, because in my first drafts it's like, this person said, that person said, this person replied, and it's just like, this sounds so boring, but I just need to get the dialogue down. But then it's like, what movements are they making? Are they looking in the distance? Are they looking at the person they're talking to? Are they fidgeting? Like, what ways now do I have to subtly get across what they really mean or how they're really feeling to make them as realistic as possible? And it sucks.
Yeah, I feel like I might have the opposite problem, because as they say, just say said. You don't have to say as he took a sip of coffee. I'm like, but he's sipping the coffee. Don't they want to know this? I don't know. I don't know how much is too much. It's like, but you can't. It's like they say you can't break up the dialogue too much, because when you do that, then they say that the reader gets distracted from the dialogue. But then if they're just having a back and forth, like, are they just sitting there having a back and forth? What else is happening? They've been talking for a while.
By that one.
Like, which one are we supposed to do? How much is too much?
But I also feel like I did that, and then like once it becomes apparent that they're having a conversation and it's just back and forth, just stop adding dialogue tags. And then I always get a beta who's like, I'm confused about who's saying what, and I'm just like.
Yeah, especially if the same person says it, like if there's a pause and then the next person is speaking, but it's broken down into the next line. It's like, wait, which one is saying that? So yeah, I can totally get how that could happen. Yeah, we have it hard.
There's like
so much to figure out, trying to figure out what the reader wants.
It makes
everything is about. Sorry, go.
I was just going to say, it makes me appreciate the slow regard of silent things so much more, because Patrick Rothfuss wrote the whole book without any dialogue, and I'm like, I feel that.
Yes.
Yeah. I think most things in writing come down to balance, or getting the right balance for the genre and style of the story you're telling, and the knowledge that it's complete personal preference for every single reader out there as to what they think is too much dialogue tags or not enough dialogue tags, or are you putting enough action beats in between your dialogue? Like, you can't. It's one of those things that you just have to feel is right for you, and then screw what anyone else thinks.
I had a beta reader once, and this person gave my book a 2 out of 10 stars.
Oh, no.
And I was like, this is so sad. Then I read the comments, and she was totally out of her genre. She liked funny slapstick, nothing serious. I was writing about like I have some horror elements that she didn't enjoy because she hates horror with her huge like passion. She didn't like gore. She doesn't like fantasy. And I'm like, okay, I see.
Then why did she read it?
Yeah.
No.
You can't read a book outside of your genre and then go, oh, I didn't like it because it contains everything that I don't like. I'm
Yeah.
going to give it a crap review.
See,
You don't do that. Oh my God.
Sometimes I feel like people don't read the descriptions when you post your beta reading or advertising for your book. They just say, oh, you want help? I'll help you because the community is so nice. But then it's like, okay, but I also have these descriptions because I want people who are familiar
Yeah.
with this.
People who are
Yeah.
going to actually pick up the book once it's published, will they enjoy
Yeah.
it?
You
Yeah,
want
that's
their
what-
opinion.
Yeah, I was saying on another live stream that I don't like Stephen King's writing. There are a couple of his movies that I did kind of like, but I don't like that genre. So I don't know if it's his writing or if it's that I just don't like that kind of stuff. Loading. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, please don't judge me on. Yeah, he's super, and I know that the movies that I've seen, the two that I like, those were good. But I don't like to be freaked out, so don't ask me kind of situation. But I would never critique one of his books because I'm like, why would I do that if I know I'm not going to enjoy it? You know. So
See, I sometimes do beta or critique partner outside of my comfort genre, which is fantasy. But I go in with the understanding that I'm not looking at what I like and dislike about a book in regards to a specific genre. I'm looking at how I felt the plot was and how I felt the characters were and how they worked as a story as a whole, regardless of the genre that it happened to be in.
Another thing that I realized is
yeah, so you'd be a good beta reader, Sarah.
Thank you. I do find it fun.
But yeah, style is also a huge part of beta reading, I find, because some styles are just so prevalent that it may not be what you like, but then you're reading, right? And your comments have to work with the style that the person is writing in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can comment on, oh, there's a plot hole. Oh, this doesn't make sense for how the character was presented to us in the earlier book, earlier in the story, or this doesn't feel right for this particular character, in my personal opinion. But not like, oh, this has blood, I don't like that.
yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, I took all the ratings with a grain of salt after reading after figuring out that she didn't like the genre. So the beta reader was helpful in some areas, but yeah.
I think also some beta readers may not realize that they have a genre preference. They may not be aware of it because I didn't think about things that way until I read several books with the same tropes and realized that I just don't enjoy books where it's the whole story is because the lady's crazy. I'm like, cool story, bro. I'm not good at that. It's not for me.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't beta read something like that, but I had to read like 3 books in a row that had the same tropes before I was like, oh, it's the tropes. It's not the writing, it's not the voice of the characters.
Yeah.
It's the tropes. I don't like this. So I think some beta readers, I mean, I've been reading for a while, and it took me probably up until 6 months ago to have that epiphany. But they were thrillers, and I've been reading a lot of thrillers, which I really enjoy. But it was just those 3 thrillers with the same basic tropes before I was like, oh.
I don't like that.
Yeah. So the author has to know what their tropes are, but the reader also needs to know what tropes they enjoy, or it's not going to be a good match.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily want beta readers that all like the exact tropes that you are writing about, because sometimes they will rate your book way too high, and you're like, oh, this is amazing, but no, they just have that preference.
Yeah. Is there a way that you can ask without, I don't know if it's rude to ask, but like maybe a little questionnaire, like simple, what genres do you read in? Which genres do you not like? And are there any tropes that you just don't like? Not because you're going to change your story, but that way when you get the feedback, you know, oh yeah, they don't like the chosen one trope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's very popular in fantasy, so that's not something that you're going to change. You know what I mean? Just so that you would know, as you're getting the feedback, that it's not necessarily that they don't like the story. They just don't like that trope. And so that you'll know where they're coming from when you get the feedback.
That's a great idea.
Add it to your beta questions at the end.
Yeah.
I think
add it to the list of questions.
I think that'd be actually kind of cool though to start off like just as a trial to see how it went with organizing your beta readers in that way to say, okay, I want two who primarily read sci-fi, I want two who primarily read fantasy, I want two who primarily read romance, and then look at that and then review their comments within that context just to see.
Yeah. Because you don't want to exclude anybody, because you might find that somebody who normally doesn't read fantasy but likes romance actually says, the romance in your story is great. I would read it just for that. And I would have, maybe so that you will know, hey, I'm really hitting on something here in a good way.
Yeah.
They're enjoying this story because I'm hitting elements that they like, even though it's out of their, normal genre of reading. So I just think it would be just helpful. If someone who's like, I don't usually like that genre, but I'll go ahead and read it for you. And then they end up liking it, hey, I'm doing something right here.
I know that some people do, when they're searching for beta readers, they have like a Google form or something to fill out. And then the beta readers get like a trial first 3 chapters, just to get a taste for the style of the story. And then so the author or the writer can see how they go about giving feedback and critique. Because you could get a beta reader who's very, very thoughtful about what critique they give, but that is actually helpful to improving the story. You could just get those beta readers that are just like, so did you enjoy the story? Yeah. Did you have a favorite character? Yeah. Was there any part of the story that you didn't like? No. And just give you like very, very, unlike I've had them before, they give you very, very unhelpful answers. And it's like, thank you for reading this book, but you basically just read the book and didn't give me any
guidance,
anything or guidance, or what was good, or what you did enjoy, or what you didn't like. So,
I will say,
if you want to be very, very organized and professional about it, beta forms or application forms, I guess, and then you could add those questions.
I did actually take a coursework with a speaking coach this year, and one of the things that we went over, because I'm also podcasting, we went over interviewing. And I think that's going to be very helpful for me personally when I start working with beta readers again, because last time all I did was pull a form with 15 questions, and I just used that at the end of each chunk of chapters. And this time I'm actually going to custom write my own questions. But I'm not sorry I did it that way to begin with, because I was overwhelmed by the entire process, and I was like, it was too much to think about. Even, I was like, I don't know what to ask. So now I think I have a better idea of what to ask, so I can ask better questions now.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Speaking of interviewing, I'm CPing for a friend, and my CP has us comment on the story, answer questions at the end of each chapter, and then once we are done reading, we have this hour of conversation of the book. So, I mean, that's also cool. Takes a lot.
I was going to say, that's a lot, though.
Yeah, especially when it's a CP, and not like it's a first draft, or I guess first draft as it's coming out. So it's not even alpha reading. But I mean, I think it's more clear if you interview your beta reader.
I would rather do a taped conversation personally, just for like my time wise, to get together, have a 15-minute conversation after each chapter, because otherwise I feel like I'm doing too much. But I think it's very thorough, and it would be an awesome learning experience.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
good
you've
night,
got
Missy. Really quick. She's leaving.
Good night, Mindy. I think if you've got a solid beta reader or critique partner even, who is someone that you have worked with often and you can communicate with that regularly and at that level, it would be very helpful, because critique partners not only look at your work as you're writing it, but they're also there to help you figure out plot issues and character issues and help guide you through the story as well. So they're sort of like your brainstorming buddy as you write the book, as well as critiquing what you have written, etc., etc. So yeah, if you have the time or you have the relationship with the CP in order to hold that much depth and detail of critique ongoing, then yeah, that's absolutely fantastic thing to do. Like, I wish I had that.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. But
yeah,
I'm also, part of me is like, I don't know that I'm at a place where I have the time to commit to being that. And if I can't commit to being that for someone else too, then I'm like, I'm not even looking at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to beta read, but I would love to beta read because I like to read people's stuff. I'm like, I don't want to beta read till I can be a good beta reader. Like, I know what to look for and know what type of feedback to get, so I don't just hand back the book and be like, yeah, it was great. That'd be me, because I don't like to be very critical. So
I've been doing a lot of, people are like, hey, can someone look at my first couple of chapters?
Mhm.
I've been doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
That way I start to get more practice at it and get better at giving feedback and find out, hey, was this helpful feedback, or do I need to just scrap it and start over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh, you go, Charlie.
I was just going to say the first couple of chapters, or what, I mean, traditionally speaking, what traditional publishers look at, right?
Yeah.
So if your first couple of chapters don't pass the test, then it doesn't matter what the rest of your story looks like.
Yeah,
That's true too.
They are the two most important. Well, I suppose even the first page, really, it's that first line, the first few paragraphs that I've really got to grab the attention to pull, I suppose, anybody reading it, whether that is a potential agent or a reader, through the rest of the story.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I just throw my book at people now. Like, I used to be, okay, I have to write the first draft, and then I have to revise it to the second draft, and then I have to revise it to the third draft, and then it's in a decent place that I think is good, and then I can give it to people to read and critique. But now I'm just like, hi, here's his first draft. I wrote it in 7 days. Read it for me.
I love that.
I don't care about a grammar, but they'll still give me comments and critique on the grammar. Like, I don't know that I spelt the wrong incorrectly 17 times on one page.
Did it on purpose. Thank you.
So yes, well done. You did catch all of them. Congratulations for reading my book properly.
You get an A in English.
No, I feel so bad because I've given people first drafts before, and then halfway through my first draft, when I'm at 50,000 words, I'm like, I hate this. So I'm going to restart it, and I'll catch you back when I something I like.
Okay, so this is perfect. For Camp NaNoWriMo, I was supposed to be writing the first draft for Abingdon House 2. It did not go as well as I wanted it to, and it's completely terrible, and I have not even written the last 3 chapters because it's now a 0 draft, and my poor CP, I'm so sorry, that's what they're going to get. This terrible manuscript that hasn't, but just a basic outline for like a few of the chapters right at the end, and not actual written words, as my 0 draft. And I'm just going to be like, here, help me fix what this story is supposed to be, please, because I just can't with it anymore.
Yeah.
So
I do a bit of both, where like I edit a lot as I start writing. I'll like write something, and then I'll like, the next day I'll edit that and then write something else. And then about halfway through, there's enough words or I have enough momentum where I'm just like, I'll come back to that. So it's like second draft type-ish material for the first half of the book, and then after that it's actual zero draft. So there's like this slide into chaos that people get. But I also wouldn't have finished my second book if it weren't for my alpha reader, who was like, give me more chapters.
Oh, that's
Where's the rest of this? And I was like, okay, let me go write it.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah. But I like how it starts off with this has to be really good, and then it ends with I don't care, whatever. just take it.
Should I throw this away?
I'll fix it later. It's fine. It's future me's issue now.
Those are goals, though. I'm still like, no, not until it's completely clean, and then I've got to edit it, and then I've got to make sure that everything is right, and then someone can beta read it. I got to get over it. I
stop caring.
See, but
Can we get a graphic of like your alpha reader standing between you and the shredder, just be like,
don't do it.
See, Nia, you like editing though. I
like editing other people's stuff, not my own.
Okay, see, I don't like to edit at all, so I hand my stuff off as early as I can, and I'm like, fix it for me, because I'm not going to look at it again until it's fixed.
I found, though, that from self-editing, I've gotten to a point now with my writing, because when I first started writing, I would just, like, put everything on Wattpad, and I probably edited the first chapter 50 times before I even moved on to writing the second chapter, and that was critical to my development as a writer. Then I got to the point where like I finished a whole draft, and then I tried to go back and edit it, and I crashed and I burned, and I never edited again for like 9 years. I kept writing, but I was just like, I'll just write it and never edit. Bye. Hello, bye. Hello, bye.
Yeah.
And now that I actually made it through a full edit, I feel like it helped me develop to the next level in my writing journey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
That's really great. Editing's always a bit weird, because I think I'm good at it, but while I'm actively like editing my own work, I think I'm not doing a very good job. But I will happily edit other people's work, or critique it at least. And, I will spot stuff in everyone else's work in regards to character, in regards to plot, that I cannot catch or recognize in my own work until someone else points it out for me, which I find really frustrating. Like, I'm really, really good at character arcs if it's not my own character arc.
That is so valid, though.
I get that, though. Like, I refuse to reread my work as soon as I've, like, you know how some people put their work down for a time period after they've written the first draft?
Yeah.
I don't like doing that, because I used to write maybe the first 15 chapters of something. I'd go back, edit those chapters continuously for a year, and totally forget where my story is going and what it's about, because all I did was edit for a year. And so now I have that mindset where if I leave my book, I'm going to go back and edit, and then I'm just not going to finish it. Even though the book's technically finished, it's not going to work out for me. So I have to write the book basically as soon as I can, as quickly as I can, and then have it done so that I feel like I can sit down and rest.
Yeah, I just find it easier to edit other people's things because I've never seen it before than my own. I will just glance over my own work, something mentally about having written it, I can't edit it the way that I can edit something that I've never seen before. And I'm also much better at editing like research papers and stuff like that, not someone's actual novel, because I don't know that I would know what is something that's just coming from within them that they want to put on paper versus, good storytelling. You know what I mean? I don't know. But research papers, history papers, stuff like that, it is what it is. I'm like, I can edit the mess out of those.
Have you ever tried writing nonfiction?
I like to read nonfiction and I like documentaries and stuff like that, but I don't know that I know enough about anything to write nonfiction. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, as far as writing papers and nonfiction, my strategy is to write everything that I think I know and not worry about facts, and then go back and be like, now I'm going to fact check everything and then update it with the actual truth. And then I also simultaneously change my opinion because I'm now informed.
Oh, see, that's interesting. Yeah, because I love just learning anything historical, especially about Africa and the Middle East and that time frame, and even older. I'm going way back to a time that I really am interested in is ancient Mesopotamia, but I don't know if I'd actually want to write I could. My kids would probably tell me, Mom, you could probably write a book about that kind of stuff because it's interesting to me. But
yeah.
But yeah, so no, I just write fantasy.
Write a fantasy, but based on those times.
I'm going to do that.
Follow Percy Jackson and take those myths and those stories and stick them in a modern-ish setting for fantasy, and you get to do both.
See? Which is why I like to write historical fiction.
Oh, I have fun with that too.
I like knowing about it. I want to write fiction though.
Yeah.
So what genres do you all write?
Fantasy. Oh, actually, okay, and also slight paranormal as well with my new book. But mostly it's some type of fantasy that I don't ever write any other genre.
Okay, Can someone explain this to me? So what is the difference between contemporary fantasy, upmarket fantasy, urban fantasy, and contemporary paranormal and urban paranormal and
paranormal more is dealing with ghosts and that type of thing. Some people include vampires and stuff like that in paranormal, and werewolves. That could also be fantasy though. And when you add urban is city, contemporary is modern, historical of course is anything in the past. So basically they're just niching it out to just be more specific. But I think Sarah,
upmarket is I believe is another name for epic.
Oh, okay.
But some people are also very specific about that too. So that can also vary. But I've heard it is for epic.
Let me think. So it would be Game of Thrones would be high fantasy or epic fantasy, which is a brand new, you've created it fantasy world with no ties to the world that we live in. Urban fantasy would be like Shadowhunters, not that I could ever remember the actual name of the Shadowhunter books, where it is modern day and there are fantastical elements or magical elements within our world. Usually the magic is separate, so I suppose Harry Potter would also be urban fantasy in some way. Paranormal is
the Mortal Instruments is what you were saying?
The Mortal Instruments, yeah, that's the one. Paranormal would be supernatural or grim. Any supernatural or paranormal creatures, not necessarily magic. would be paranormal fantasy.
My biggest question, my most important question for my beta readers is always, what genre do you think this book is? And what age level do you think this book is?
Yeah, because you could have your own idea in your head and that's what you're writing, but it could not come across that way to your readers.
Like,
that's actually a really, really good question.
You
actually.
might
I never would have thought to ask that.
Yeah, you might think that you're writing in fantasy, but you're actually writing in supernatural, where you've got more vampires and angels than you do actually fantastical creatures like fairies. And that's where like werewolves and stuff like that depending on what else is going on in the story.
It's a very blurry line between them,
because werewolves are in fantasy, but they're also in supernatural. So some things do blur the line. So sometimes you might think, oh, I'm writing werewolves, so I must be writing fantasy. And it's like, actually, this is not fantasy. This turns out it's supernatural.
Yeah. And some agents will say one thing, that they'll take one genre, like, because I thought for the longest time I was writing urban fantasy. And so many people would say, okay, I like urban fantasy, but I don't like commercial fantasy and I don't like paranormal. But then someone told me my book was paranormal, who was critiquing my query letter, not my actual book. None of my beta readers or alpha readers thought that I was writing paranormal. And then I was like, wait a second, is this a thing? So now I'm always so cautious on everything because it's hard, because agents are so specific.
So I think we just niched down what my book is.
All right.
That's why I like wrote it. I was like, oh, I gotta write this down. But I think I'm writing a grim, epic paranormal fantasy.
Nice. Yes. So your book hits all of those elements. So to just make sure, if you're in something very specific, sometimes they expect certain tropes. So maybe read one book in each of those genres just so you can understand what the tropes are, because what I write is fantasy with elements of these. Sometimes I'll add in other things, but I have to make sure that if I'm going to sell it as a fantasy, I'm hitting fantasy tropes. And if that's why I say I don't write romance, because I know my fantasy stories are not, but you can have a romance that has a fantasy setting. Which tropes are you hitting the most?
So that's why I was careful not to add romance in there, because there is, think like Romeo and Juliet. So not
which is romance. A tragedy. Yes, that's a tragedy, not a romance.
And it's also adult, but I don't like
trouble.
writing happy stuff, so I'm just like, everyone must die.
It's genre is always a really, really weird thing, and unless you have like a solid genre like mystery, like you know what a mystery novel is, you know what a thriller is, you know what a horror is. You turn around and you know what sci-fi is. You turn around and say fantasy, and then it's like, but what type of fantasy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, but why is the fantasy specifically have so many different subgenres in it? And it's also one of those things where you have multiple genres. Like, how many genres do I have to explain are in my book? So it's a fantasy, but it's also a paranormal, but it's also urban, but it's also got romance in it. So do I count romance? And oh, look, there's a bit of mystery in it. So do I add mystery into how I say the genre of my book? It's very weird.
Also, every book is a mystery in a way.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I say for some genres, you do need to niche it out a little bit. Like with sci-fi, there are some people who read in sci-fi that don't want any romance. They want the science, they want the technology, they want the weird thing that is going on in this futuristic scientific world. So that's why I say if I'm writing, if my sci-fi has a little bit of fantasy in it, I'll say that it's sci-fi with elements, because I don't want them to read it and be like, what is this dribble? You can't have fantasy and science. It's all about technology. So I don't want them to do that. I want them to, if they want to read it, great. but come in knowing that this has some fantasy elements, or some of them don't want to read any romance. So, hey, this is going to have some romance elements. I'm not too heavy into the romance, but there will be relationships. Relationships will happen, so that they're not, oh man, here comes, they're going to kiss. Oh no.
But also,
So just know there's romantic elements in this sci-fi. So
Unless
you're not into that.
entire cast are just robots, then how are you not going to have some romance?
Sci-fi, they manage to make it interesting, and there's no romantic interest. Some people, they just really don't like it, and if you trafficked in, which is why I'm not in any fandoms, but if you traffic in those areas, you can see as soon as anyone, especially they're like, oh gosh, there's a girl in the group, who, that means they automatically think that there's going to be romance. And then if someone then they're like, no, come on, we're all adults. It's okay.
That was me and my friend.
Relationship.
That was me and my friend watching Shadow and Bone for the first time. We were like, okay, these two are going to get together. Now these two. And then we concluded that they're all just going to get together with everyone, like Game of Thrones, and it's going to be great.
I've been rewatching Vampire Diaries, and I think I've gotten halfway through before I stopped watching because life happened. And so I'm just now getting back to it. And so I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, y'all, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's messy.
even if you don't want romance, you will have readers that go, these two characters have chemistry together. Like, I can see in my head that these two characters would be a good match, where they would be fun to put them together, and it's a natural thing to do. Like, even if your book didn't have any romance in it, like
fan fiction,
the fan fiction will have the romance in it for you.
Exactly.
So
fixed it.
It's funny. I'm not going to spoil what book it is, but there's a book series that I was reading, and I randomly thought two characters that in the beginning of the book series, the author has them barely in each other's realm, but their personalities match so well. And I said it out loud to someone. I said, these two people, that's who I want to get together. They would be perfect for each other. I just thought that they would. Much, much, much later, I'm reading and I'm like, what? Because everybody's like, what? They don't even talk to each other hardly in the book. And I'm like, their personalities. I'm
doesn't
feeling
matter.
It works. And I, you think the author was, the author and I, we were tracking on that. Yeah.
This is why you get fandom crossovers, because you've got one character from one fandom and another character from another fandom who you think would be really, really good together. So you smush them together and force that meeting and that interaction just to see how it would go.
When someone writes
fanfic
a fan fiction about my work, I will know that I have made it.
Yes. That is. I think that's a sign nowadays. I mean, what was it? I can't remember the name of the book. Can I remember the name of the book? I can't remember the name of the book. It's got a character called Gansey in it. It's like these four guys at this like posh boarding school, and then this one girl is like a paranormal. I don't know the name. That's going to annoy me now. I need to figure out what the name is. But it got very, very popular because of, I think, Tumblr, with all of the fan art and the shipping and the fanfics on Tumblr, and then that got more people interested in this book because of the fans creating things for it. And then it became an extremely, extremely popular book series because of the few fans who were fanfics and aesthetics and mood boards and all of that stuff.
That so much.
That's going to annoy me now until I know what the name of this book
You said there's four guys in it?
Oh, it's a really... The Raven Boys.
Oh, I've never read
I've never read that book.
There we go.
Looking it up now.
By Maggie, I don't want to try and pronounce her last name. The Raven Cycle.
Okay.
But yeah, it didn't start out as like amazingly popular from what I know. But it became amazingly popular through fan work.
Oh, this
Which
fan art
I
is
found-
nice.
Which I found very, very interesting. It's like, who's this character? I must look into this, and then discovery.
Yeah.
Ooh. I also
Okay.
see several author tubers have left ratings on it on Goodreads, and they were like, so now I need to go read it.
Here's
Yeah.
the deal. You guys read my book, I'll read your book, we'll all make fan art, they'll all have hands, and then
And fan art.
Oh my
This
god.
fan art has hands in it. It must be good. They've
Exactly.
put so much work into hands. Amazing.
I'll let y'all know when I'm
actually
able to
perfect.
draw hands.
I'll let you all know when I'm able to draw. Lainey cheated. Yeah,
You already did so much.
go for it. You did so much. You got so close. Like, they're not gonna know. They're
How are they
really
gonna
like.
know?
Shit,
Nobody's
they're
gonna
not
know.
gonna know. They'll never know. Don't worry about it. So,
That's right.
congratulations
You did
on winning
great.
camp, Lainey. Well done.
Yes, you
So-
did awesome.
yeah.
Fantastic job. Well, you don't have much more to write, to be fair. Was it you had? Oh, she mentioned it in a comment up here. 4,000 or so words left to go. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Wow. That is
Yeah.
not much.
you've earned it. Like,
But yeah, go for it. Get those winner goodies. Like,
Yep.
we'll keep the secret. It's okay.
You may as well
No
write the book
one-
when you're awake.
No one will know.
Yeah, you'll
Fine.
never know. Right. So as it is, it's 11 o'clock my time. It's very, very sad. Oh, I mean, it's not bedtime because it's not a weekday tomorrow. It's a weekend, and I don't have to do anything, which is
Yay.
fun.
That's nice.
So because we, as always, completely derailed off of everything we were meant to be talking about, which was Camp NaNoWriMo.
I feel like we
But
still
we-
had good foundational discussion.
Yeah.
we always have an absolute massively epic conversation. Somehow it just always does veer away from how did you do for camp?
We
But
go through one
while
question.
Yes.
yes,
Sorry, what was the
As
other question? I think we could spit it out in 30 seconds, right?
oh, I have one more question for you guys. What is your goals for May?
My goal is to be an entire potato and edit the last thing I wrote.
Yes.
So I have it mapped out. Week 1, do nothing except for get the manuscript printed. And then week 2 and 3, I think. Week 2 is reading it. And I have an outline for how many chapters I'm going to read.
Ooh.
And then 3 and 4 is an edit. That's my plan.
That is,
I love how you've broken that down into weeks.
I love it.
I love that. I love your first week especially.
Yes, that's the one I'm so excited. But to
Potato
kick
week.
it off, I am going to stream tomorrow, which I don't usually stream, but I'm going to stream.
Yay.
Yay!
Oh,
If
is
you
it
wanna-
my-
You want to loaf because Camp Nano is hard. Come loaf with me.
Yes,
Yes.
I would love that. Okay. Nia, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead, Charlie. You're the guest.
Oh,
Yes.
God. I didn't know that. Oh, okay. We're going to see how well I stick to this because I'm making this up as I go. So I want to finish my draft. I want to hand it
Go
off
for
to beta readers. I want to crochet my dinosaur. I want to... We'll have time. I want to start watching movies. I want to also finish the 6 books that I started that I didn't have time to finish. So...
6.
Yeah, some of them are rereads, but I'm still kind of interested in them, and they all have deadlines because library holds suck.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yay.
I like it.
Good goals.
You've got a plan.
Yeah. So let's see. May, I want to finish the short stories for the novel that I'm writing. I'm writing the prequel is the novel, and then just a series of short stories. So I want to finish those and put those out sometime soon. I hate to have a hard date when I'm not sure how everything else in life is going to go, but I would like to get that done. Finish making my journals, and I really would like to get my new stories, the historical fiction. So I want to just get the first draft on a lot of stuff done, like the very rough draft. So yeah, the more rough drafts I have completed, I feel like that will give me more options, as far as when I'm ready to actually clean up something and write it, I'll have more options because my brain I flip from one project to the next very easily. So when I can get concrete things done, I feel, okay, that's something accomplished. So I want to at least get one of those fully drafted.
Yeah. So. You've got an entire month. You can do it.
Yes.
Yes. Can't wait to see your short stories.
I can't write short stories to save my life. People who can.
My short stories are part of a massive story, though. That's the only reason why it's the short stories are mostly stuff that's getting cut.
I like to do flash fiction.
I still like
it. Flash fiction sounds cool.
That's cool.
Still works though.
Yeah.
I think my plans for May are do my bullet journal, which I have not done yet, despite the fact that May is in an hour. I need to throw the trash heap that is Abingdon 2 at my CP and get them to fix it for me.
Number the pages before you throw it, please.
That takes away the fun of puzzling it together.
This doesn't make sense.
No, is that because it's in the wrong order or because that's how I wrote it? You'll never know. I want to write Act 2 or do the first draft of Act 2 of Project Mystic, which is my paranormal fantasy that I'm writing. And I want to read, I say this every month, I'm supposed to be reading a book a month. I've read one book this year so far, not including the beta readers I've done. But I want to read this book.
That's so pretty.
In May.
Yeah.
I always judge a book by its cover. I'm going to read that.
Yep. Please don't be bad. I don't like the DNF, so if I start reading it, I'm going to be stuck.
No, that's what it is.
Looks good.
It looks good. I was on Discord and Day was just like, oh, I need to pre-order this book. And she put it in the title and I was just like, oh, what's that about? And I read the blurb and I was just like, damn it, now I'm going to have to buy it. So the reason I have that book is Day's fault. So if it's not good, I'm going to blame Day. But yeah, that's why I don't read lots anymore, because I don't like being disappointed in the books I buy, but I tend to be disappointed in the books I read because it's YA and there's romance, and I don't like YA romance.
I can't read YA anymore for the most part.
Yeah, I'm struggling with YA right now. I mean, there's elements of it that I still love. Maybe I don't know.
The only issue for me is when it's got a really, really good premise, but that premise is sort of like pushed to the back for the romance, which is probably supposed to be including romance, but it's it's mainly just a romance book with all of the fun stuff in the background. That's what I don't like about YA sometimes.
Okay, so that might be a little bit of one of the problems I'm having. They're almost always told in first person, and sometimes even in that character's voice. And then there are interesting things that happen that we don't get to know anything about. A character will come back and tell the girl that they've been doing these great things. In my mind's like, I want to go see what the pirates were doing.
That sounds a lot better than what you were doing.
You were doing nothing except for complaining about, you know, how you...
And even Manicat.
You can't do it one little thing because you're just so in love with this guy while these people are out doing really cool stuff. I want to know what that was about.
Yes.
That was one of the reasons I did not like the third Hunger Games book. Because, what was it? They went, like, a bunch of characters that were not Katniss went and did really, really fun, interesting things, while Katniss was just, like, in a place. And it's like, but that's boring. Like, I want to see what they're doing.
Ooh, on some of the raids.
That's the plot. Yeah, that's the plot. Why can't I see that?
And she's just
I don't
like-
want to see Katniss skulk around and complain about stuff that she's not allowed to. I don't want to see that. I want to see the
Recently,
interesting part, but yeah.
what I've realized about YA, because I love a lot of the old YAs, and I'm rereading some of the stuff that I used to read, that I haven't read in a while, and I've realized that I can totally figure out what year the book was published because it carries the same tropes as all the other books that were released that I read.
Oh,
like, for example, I guess, like some of the books, all the last 3 books that I've read were all from the same, like, kind of era in that genre, where the ending is all the same. Like, it's all, I'm going to go off on an adventure. See you next book. And I'm like, I don't care anymore. Don't give me the next book.
And they all have a love triangle.
Yeah, and it's always the best friend who they've known for their entire lives, or the mysterious new boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why
How interesting.
That's why I DNF'd Hunger Games, because they did my boy Gale dirty.
They did.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Charlie. Gail was...
They did Gale just fine, okay? We love Peter. Peter in this house.
So here's the thing.
I mean, Peter's fine.
Gale's fine.
Don't throw shoes at me. Peeta deserved better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gale was perfect for Katniss.
Sorry, by the end, I was like, Katniss, go be by yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Just
no, definitely.
Be by yourself.
I didn't like the epilogue at all, or the ending, or whatever. I was like, what is this? And my friend was like, what do you mean? This is the best ending it could have had. It makes sense with the character, and it makes sense with the story, and it's beautiful. And I'm like, I think Peeta should have died in the first book.
So I also think it's funny that the epilogue on Hunger Games was the same as the epilogue in 50 Shades Freed.
Interesting. What year did they come out?
yeah,
Did they come out close to each other?
That's super adult.
Oh, it's super adult, but it's based on an old Twilight fan fiction that probably was written around the time that the Hunger Games came out. So that tracks and that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like the Harry Potter epilogue. I think it's stupid and I hate it and I wish it didn't exist because I'm just like, I don't care what stupid names that you named your children. Or that they go to Hogwarts for the first time. I'm like, I don't want to read it. Oh, yeah.
So I really do think for Hunger Games that the epilogue was dumb. I think it should have been a more adult epilogue, and it should have been Katniss either stepping out on, I know a lot of people don't like that trope, but I feel like if you read all the characters, this is how it happens in real life. Katniss does not stick around with Peeta, and she actually does go run off into the woods to explore things, and probably Gale finally goes with her. Maybe I'll write that as a fan fiction.
Yeah, there you go.
But Gale no, because spoiler alert, Gale killed her sister, man. Like, why would she bother with him anymore?
I mean, he
Irredeemable.
definitely didn't mean to kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was his stupid plan that was meant to kill tons of innocent children.
It was a good plan.
It stopped the wound.
Did anyone read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes?
No.
No.
I was like, I'm done.
So here's my hot take. I like President Snow.
Oh yeah, no. President Snow he was a dick. But he was a very, very good villain, and he was a very interesting villain, especially for Katniss.
Yes.
Like I liked that. Like he was a dick, but I liked the whole relationship that they had. It was never a case of, oh, I'm the president and I'm so much better than her. It's just like, I see you as an equal, and we're like playing this game of chess.
Yeah.
And he respects her even if he, sees her as the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Which rarely happens, which I found very, very interesting. So yeah, I enjoyed President Snow. If there's anything I want to see out of the Hunger Games, though, it's Haymitch's Hunger Game.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That I want to read about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Yep.
And see where the conversation has gone once again.
Wow.
How did we get to this point?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing.
My bad.
There was not. There is not. Okay. Well, it's now officially 11:15. We are. We'll stick up these last two comments while we do some outros. Everybody. Platonic relationships, yes.
I hate that.
Thank you, Lainey. Thank you, Lainey. Exactly.
Yeah.
What did Severus ever do? Okay, I'm not going to get into it.
I do love Severus, though. I do. He's my favorite.
Because there's a lot of things I don't like about Harry Potter. Severus is one of them. And hot take, but Ron and Hermione and Ginny and Harry are another. Like,
oh yeah, that was garbage. But I do love Snape. I can't help it.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
You're
I
like,
just don't.
Because I'm a bad person.
We like what we like.
This particular brand of evil is my jam.
Do you have more than one brand of evil?
Yes. Also yes.
Yeah.
So read my book. It's gonna be a tragedy. No,
I like a good villain. It's all right. Oh gosh. Since I think Snape's arc was interesting, but I don't like him.
I don't think it was interesting. And I think the fact he bullied an 11-year-old because his dad happened to be the person who took his person he loved away.
I don't like the relationship between Snape and Lily. I think it was the fact that she just abandoned him after one word, after all her friends bullied him. I'm like, okay, loyalty there.
Yeah, she wasn't a good friend, but hot take, James Potter is the villain.
True, yeah.
Yeah, he is. But then that's still no excuse to bully an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For absolutely no reason whatsoever. And I have no sympathy whatsoever for Snape. And I can't watch or read that scene where he gives his tear so Harry can see his life. And I can't read or watch the scene where Ron and Hermione first kiss. I actually threw the book when that happened, when I first read it. I read that line and I was just like...
You had some feelings, Sarah. That's all right.
To further derail us, I think the book that made me the most angry was Allegiant.
Yeah.
I've never read it.
Because it was not...
Okay, I'm not to spoil it. There's a POV change halfway through the third book, and I was like, you words that I'm not going to say on the stream.
Yeah.
Lots of them, a stream of them actually.
Yeah, it was so random.
And I knew exactly where the story was going after that. And I hated it.
Okay, not to derail us further, but what do you guys think about authors talking about their reviewers, like on the Goodreads and stuff? There's been a lot of that going on. It's been really bad. A couple of authors have just like, one of them really kind of went off on reviewers for a 3-star review, not even a 1.
There's
And then
Like,
there's a
I read
YouTuber
somewhere-
who got involved in his and I think I follow this particular, but people
I believe
didn't.
so. Me too.
Yeah,
I read
it's
something.
entertaining though. I like it, but
Was it a Twitter thread where someone went to town on an author went to town in a really bad way on a reviewer who left them a 4-star review?
oh, was it 4? Not even
I'm
3?
like,
yeah, yes.
Why are you being mean to someone who gave you a 4-star review? Like, why are you even responding?
Well, it should have
to
been 5
these reviews in the first place?
Because the more controversial your video is, the more people like it. For some reason.
See, that's the
They
thing.
both got
like,
a lot of attention, so
That's true.
Yeah,
So we gotta stop
I mean,
giving attention to that.
as a writer, like, I understand the urge to read the reviews of your work, but you are not in a position to please every single person, and every single reader is not in the position or feels the need to like your book. So if they have valid criticism, you as a writer should have thick enough skin to accept that critique, positive or negative as it may be, and move on.
Yeah, so
Like, you can't attack people for their opinion.
I know some authors don't read the reviews, but I think it's really interesting that I think her name's Adrienne Woods or Adrienne Young, the person who wrote Fable and Sky in the Deep and The Girl the Sea Gave Back. And I think I've read, because the book was going around book Instagram or Bookstagram for so long, I was like, I gotta read this author. And so I read her first book, her second book, and her third book. And it is so clear from the way the books are structured and written that she reads her reviews, because each one has taken what other people disliked in the last book and edited it and improved her work and stuff. And I thought that was really cool.
And that's how you do it. So if you've
you
got
can
a majority, quietly,
If you can do
can
that,
read the
then
reviews all you
definitely.
want, but you don't attack people for going, oh, I didn't like this character.
But the other thing is, I feel like people take criticism of their work to be criticism of them as an
Of
individual.
themselves. Yeah.
And if you can't separate the two, then don't read the reviews. But I also don't understand how you get feedback and how you made it through the critique partner or beta reader process.
Yeah.
Or editing and all of that. Yeah, I just, yeah.
So how? So maybe some people are doing it for different reasons. Maybe some people are doing it for the attention it brings to their book. In which case, I mean, I can't fault a person for that. It's not my style. But if that's their motive and it's like a super secret plan that they had going, then like, I mean, you did it. Good job.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. Hats off to you.
And
You got
it's-
attention on your book. You made more money. That's great.
And
But
if
if
someone
you're-
hates a character that I've written, I'm like, that's maybe I didn't want you to hate that character, but if you're feeling an emotion so strongly that you have to write a review on it, that's good, because I
You've
want you to
accomplished
feel
something, yeah.
Yeah.
If you are just completely like, you've read the book and you forget about it the next day, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I think as a whole, like, what people say about me isn't my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And there's another published author. She doesn't talk about her reviews, at least not specifically. The only thing that she's talked about is that people who don't like you will go on and give you a 1-star before your book even comes out. So she goes, there is that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about it. But she's like, Goodreads is for the readers, so that readers can, get the reviews and know if they're interested in a book or whether they should even pick it up.
Yeah.
And readers are going to know if you're in there and they say, I didn't like this book because I don't like their YouTube channel. Then they'll know, okay,
Yeah.
it's not the book that they don't like. So you can just scroll past that one. And she has an understanding of that one. And she's like, but nope. She's like, nope, don't do it.
I
Because
actually looked through my reviews, my past reviews, and evaluated them independently. I went through and made a star system, what each star system means to me. And then I went back and I reviewed my actual reviews based off of the star system that I created, which is how I think it should be.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
but you
this is
didn't
a good
go
review.
back and say, hey, you shouldn't have given me a 2. That was you reviewed my book.
No,
read
I mean,
it wrong. Read it again.
Yeah.
These are reviews I've written for other people.
Okay.
So then I went back and I was like, oh, this is a bad review because it doesn't actually accomplish the point of a review. This is a good review because I give this, and this reason. This is why I wrote the review this way. That makes sense. And there was a couple times where I looked at my review and I'm like, that's a bad review. I'm a bad reviewer in this case.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
Just saying I didn't like it or just not giving any kind of feedback or.
Book 13 of the Charlaine Harris, the Sookie Stackhouse True Blood series. I wrote 1 star. I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, then she doesn't know what she did wrong.
Right. And that's one of the ones that I marked as a bad. I think I'm actually going to just go make a video about it because I feel like it might be helpful. But I don't disagree with that rating because I've read every single book in the series, but it's the only book in the series that I wrote a review on. Yeah. And therefore it doesn't help other readers understand why I felt that way when I wrote the review, and it was 100% an emotional response and not useful to anybody but me, just to get negativity out of my system.
It's also hard to figure out the emotional stuff. And also, if someone's rereading a book, like sometimes I've reread books that I adored when I was 13, and I'm reading it, I'm like, this is complete garbage now for me. Like, I used to love this book, but I'm older, I'm out of it, I can't get into the characters, it's just not working out. So, because opinions always change, so it's also hard to figure out whether it's emotional based, or if it's just not your preference, etc.
Yeah.
But then I'm one of those readers that I don't like taking other people's opinions into account when I read a book. Because I'll see like, oh, this movie has, or this book has 5 stars, or this book has 4 stars, or this is such a fantastic book. And I'm like, okay, yeah, great. And then I read it and I'm like, it was not that great. You lied to me. So I don't pay attention to reviews or stars for that reason, because anybody can have, you can like Caraval, for instance. I don't know if you've heard it, by Stephanie Garber.
I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
Same.
Like, it was like #1 bestseller, like really hyped up. This is such a really, really great book. And I read it and I was like, it's not that great. I wouldn't read the sequel personally. Like, I don't see what everyone was going on about.
That was me and Akatar. Sorry if anybody really enjoyed it. I'm sure it was some people's.
Oh yeah, no,
it was not mine, but it was so popular and everybody was reading it, and I thought, oh, well, okay. Ooh,
it must be good if everyone's going. It's fantastic. Yeah,
and it's going to, now it's going to get a series probably. I'm like,
why?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
I guess.
No, so I review each book that I read in like this book journal that I made, because I don't use Goodreads because I always forget. To me, it's like the Milwordy thing and Nano thing where I always forget to do stuff. So anyways, I have this book and I have shown it on my channel a few times, and I thought about like doing a flip through. And at this point, I've teased the flip through so much that I feel like I should do a flip through. But then I'm looking through, and I'm like, I rate in each spread that I do, I rate the book, and then I have like a paragraph of why I gave that rating. And when I flip through, I've hated on some very popular books and loved some very unpopular books. So I'm sitting there going, how much hate am I going to get for giving this really famous book 2 stars?
I think
Yeah.
To be fair,
do group them and then do unpopular opinions. And
Yeah.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
I think you'll
Yep.
be surprised
It
to
would be
find how
great.
many people are like, oh, thank goodness someone else
It's
is
not
saying
just
this.
me.
Yeah.
yeah. Although, to be fair, if you're the type of person that shits on someone because they hold a different opinion to your favourite book than you do,
Yeah. Go
so
swim in a
why do
different
you
pond.
care that one other person why do you care that this person doesn't like the book you like?
I like talking to people who don't like the same books that I like, or
Yeah,
like
me too.
dislike
I'm
the
like,
different
what did you?
characters.
Yeah, I like
It's-
that.
yeah,
What
it's-
did you
it's
not
nice.
like about it? Go ahead and tell me. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, there was
It's
that.
nice. It's nice to get the perspective, although no one can talk bad to me about Six of Crows or Cookie Kingdom
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
because there's
Those
nothing
were
bad to say
those were
about them.
great.
So
They were great.
they were.
I haven't read them, so all I know is that there are supposed to be 6 crows, but there are only 3 in the episodes that I watched of Shadow and Bone.
It's a prequel. All the
Yeah, it's a
crows aren't there yet.
Yeah, and
Okay.
At that point in time.
there were more than 3. Oh, never mind. I can't say anything.
I need to read this. I haven't.
If you
I
haven't
have
read
the
it yet,
book.
then you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know any of this. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Get me re-energized in this world because I have a whole week to kill. So
I
Oh,
will tell you
yes.
this. I didn't know that they were called crows until I talked to people who were in the fandom, because no one turned into a crow. And I got confused.
It's like a gang name. Yeah. Sorry if you're that. Okay, this is gonna go supernatural any minute. These people are gonna turn into crows. No. No.
They work at the Crow Club, and their gang is called the Crows, so that's about that.
Whoa,
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
that actually makes so much sense now. I didn't realize that they worked at a place that was called Crow either until now. That makes sense.
But yeah, Shadow and Bone series and the Six of Crows duology. If you're gonna read either of them, read Six of Crows
Yeah. Read 6
and Cookie Kingdom, because it is better than the Shadow and Bone series.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's more modern, especially. I don't know, maybe just because I've only watched the episodes and I've only watched a couple of them. I feel like there's a difference between the casting and there's a difference between the romances and the dynamic between characters.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Also,
just overthinking it.
the books feel less YA typical
Okay.
than Shadow and Bone does, which is probably also one of the reasons I love it so much. I suppose it is supposed to be a YA, but it doesn't feel like a YA.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And Shadow and Bone, it does have this element. Oh, never mind. You haven't seen it yet. Ah.
So wait, what I'm hearing is Charlie and I need to finish all of this, and then we need to revisit this conversation.
Why I've been refraining
Yes.
from talking about it, but I'm so anxious to talk about it because everybody's like, I'm halfway through, or I haven't read the books yet, and it's like,
Yeah, I know.
So I watched the first 5 episodes, and then two of my friends wanted to watch the series with me. So I'm rewatching the first 5 episodes 2 other times. And I'm sitting there going, okay, wait.
All right, I get it.
Yeah.
I would have just been like, mate, you can catch up with me. Come see me once you've finished the series, okay?
Yeah.
'Cause I ain't stopping.
I feel bad if I'm like, okay, bye now.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, okay, another thing is they don't watch fantasy.
Ah.
They
Oh,
just kind of saw it on #1 on Netflix #1, and they were like, let's watch it together. Or in one of my friend's cases, I asked if she wanted to watch it with me, and she didn't reply until I had watched the first 3 episodes, and by then I couldn't stop.
This offer is no longer on the table.
Yeah.
man.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, get back to us when you've seen it, because I'm anxious to talk about it. But I need to,
Yes.
we're gonna have to actually label it. Shadow and Bones spoiler. So that people who haven't seen it don't just hop on and be like, hey, they're streaming. What's that? Spoiler.
Until we start talking about all the other
yeah,
and we
you're
can,
gonna get
and we can be there like this is a foreshadow, this is a mention to the books, this is an Easter egg,
yes,
this is this, that, and the other. I'm going to point out that once again, something that involves me and Nia has devolved into Shadow and Bone. As it always does.
That's one that is too easy.
Thank you,
like,
Lainey.
Every time.
Congrats to Chandra for 100 subs.
And on this channel, yay.
Awesome.
You're awesome.
They watched it and it was good. There we go. That's all you need to know.
Yes.
Right,
okay. It is now precisely 11:30. My husband is at me because I was supposed to be off half an hour ago. So
sorry, husband.
Sorry.
He's not in the room right now, but he left and he was just like I was like, sorry, I'm sorry, we got to talking.
We're just so
do we all want to do an outro?
For real this
time. Okay.
Yes,
really quickly so that makes it official.
Oh, like 30 seconds?
We're not good at this 30 seconds.
Right, Nia, Charlie, Chandra, go.
All right. Guys, thanks for coming. I am Nia, the Vixen of Fiction, here on YouTube and on Twitch, and you can also find me on Instagram. You can subscribe to me there. I write fantasy, sci-fi, historical fiction. Sometimes I mix them all together with some supernatural, and I also am writing a comic. I like to bake, and I like to do artsy and crafty things. Follow me. I do live streams, and sometimes I invite my friends. Not Sarah, because it's always her bedtime. Unfortunately, she's like pops in, and then she's like, "I gotta go to bed." And I'm like, "Good night, Sarah." But yeah, so that's me.
I'm
Charlie.
I'm Charlotte. You can call me Charlie. I have an Instagram at Charlie Write with me. My YouTube handle is on screen. Yeah. And I'm almost at 300 subs. So yeah, and on there I occasionally stream, but very rarely. I write, I journal, and I write fantasy, romance, apparently paranormal, and my goal is to write contemporary and historical fiction, but we'll get to that later.
I'm Chandra Arthur, which is also my YouTube handle, and you can find me on social media at here we go.
Yep.
Chan, right? And I write fantasy, sci-fi, historical fiction, flash fiction, and poetry. You can follow me on all the links on my page, which is about in places. That was most excellent. I stream occasionally, but most of the time I'm on someone else's stream, and I have their channels linked on mine if you would like to hop over and hang out. I would absolutely love to chat and derail the conversation.
And
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
And
once again, my name is Sarah. I write middle grade and YA fantasy and do fun writing experiments and streams every second Wednesday at 4 p.m. EST. So thank you guys for joining us for the April wrap up. I hope you have, for those of you who still have Camp NaNoWriMo to go, a wonderful rest of Camp NaNoWriMo, and we will see you all next time.
All right.
Bye, guys.